What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Link Light here with another episode of Shiny Carboard Chronicles, where we cover Shiny Carboard. Cause let's face it, Pokemon is all about the Shiny Carboard. I love Shiny Carboard, and you love Shiny Carboard too. So let's continue the Shiny Carboard from the 1999 Pokemon set Jungle. The number 9 holo in this set is this Pinsir, the first ever Pinsir holographic card ever. And the artist who was credited with giving us the first ever Pinsir is Kagamaru Hamino. Again, that is Kagamaru Hamino. In a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 109 out of 2,468. Again, there is 109 PSA 10 first editions out of 2,468. If we're talking regular holos of this Pinsir in a PSA 10 regular holo again, there is currently only 40, and that is out of 3,250. Again, there is only 40 in a regular holo PSA 10, and that is out of 3,250. The 10th holo in this set, a fan favorite growing up, is this Scyther. And this Scyther was illustrated by none other than Ken Sugimori. Again, this Scyther was illustrated by Ken Sugimori. In a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 138, and that is out of 2,862. Again, in a first edition PSA 10, there is currently only 138, and that is out of 2,862. Now, if we're looking for the regular holo PSA 10s of this holo, again, regular holo PSA 10s of this Scyther, there is currently only 87, and that is out of 4,150. Again, there is 87 out of 4,150 regular holos of the Scyther in a PSA 10. Now, sitting at lucky number 11, a huge fan favorite, probably a top 25 Pokemon, I believe, for the fandom, is this Snorlax, the first ever holographic Snorlax. And again, this was illustrated by none other than Ken Sugimori. Again, this Snorlax was illustrated by Ken Sugimori. Now, in a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 75. Again, there is only 75 of this card in a PSA 10, and that is out of 3,629. Now, on the flip side, if we're looking for the regular holo of the Snorlax in a PSA 10, there is currently only 37. Again, there is only 37 of this card in a regular holo PSA 10, and that is out of 5,091. Again, 37 out of 5,091. That is a lot of cards sent to PSA. Sitting at number 12, another EV Evolution. This is probably my favorite EV Evolution, Vaporeon. This Vaporeon was illustrated by none other than Kagamaru Hamino. Again, this was illustrated by Kagamaru Hamino. In a PSA 10 first edition, there is currently only 72 of this card, and that is out of 3,217. Again, in a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 72 out of 3,217. Now, on the flip side of the regular holo PSA 10s, there is currently 34 of this card in a regular holo in a PSA 10, and that is out of 9,394. Again, you heard that right. There is 34 PSA 10s in a regular holo, and that is out of 9,394. You can definitely tell people are trying to get that PSA 10 Vaporeon. At number 13, we have this Venomoth, and I can definitely say this is probably not a favorite of many Pokemon. I've really never heard anybody say, you know what, Link, Venomoth is my favorite Pokemon, but it is what it is. It is a holographic, so we will definitely cover it today. This Venomoth was illustrated by Ken Sugimori. Again, the illustrator's name is Ken Sugimori. In a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 106. Again, in a first edition of PSA 10, there is currently 106, and that is out of 2,397. Now let's flip that to the regular hollow PSA 10s, and that there is currently only 39. Again, there is currently only 39 of this Venomoth in a regular hollow PSA 10, and that 39 is out of 3,092. At number 14, we have this holographic Victory Bell. And this card is special because if you're an OG Pokemon watcher, you know this Victory Bell is a Team Rocket Pokemon of the Team Rocket member named James. In the OG Pokemon days, there was Jesse and James, and this was the Pokemon of James right here. This Victory Bell was illustrated by Ken Sugimori. Again, the artist's name is Ken Sugimori. In a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 91 of this Victory Bell. Again, in a first edition PSA 10, there is currently 91, and that is out of 2,176. Now let's flip that and talk about the regular hollow PSA 10s. In a regular hollow PSA 10, there is currently 35. Again, in a regular hollow PSA 10, there is currently only 35, and that is out of 2,749. The second to last Pokemon we will be covering is number 15, this Violet Plume. And if you know from the Pokemon days, the gym leader Erica, who gave Ash the Rainbow Badge, this was one of her Pokemon. This Violet Plume is illustrated by none other than Keiji Kinubachi. Again, the illustrator's name is Keiji Kinubachi. I definitely got better with these names as the Shiny Carboard Chronicles episodes continue. In a first edition PSA 10, there is currently only 107 of this Violet Plume. Again, in a first edition PSA 10, there is currently only 107, and that is out of 2,350. Now again, let's flip that and talk about the regular hollows in a PSA 10. In a regular hollow PSA 10, there is only 41 of this card in a regular hollow PSA 10. Again, in a regular hollow PSA 10, there is currently only 41, and that is out of 3,077. Now the last Pokemon on today's episode is this Wigglytuff at number 16. And that was illustrated by an OG Pokemon illustrator, and that is Mitsuhiro Arita. Again, the illustrator's name is Mitsuhiro Arita. In a PSA 10 first edition, there is currently only 75. Again, in a first edition PSA 10, there is currently only 75 of this Wigglytuff, and that is out of 2,181. Now let's flip that and talk about the PSA 10 regular hollows. In a regular hollow PSA 10, there is currently only 34. Again, there is currently only 34 of this Wigglytuff in a PSA 10, and that is out of 2,806. Well, there you have it. The last 8 shiny cardboard from the 1999 Pokemon set Jungle. Stay tuned for the next episode of Shiny Carboard Chronicles, where we cover the shiny cardboard from the Pokemon set Fossil. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.